What's going on, guys? So in this video, we're going to be going over how to build an AI system that can automatically analyze all your guys' sales calls and store all the results and say like a Google Sheet. That way you can track all your guys' sales reps' performances. So the outputted text will look like this. So right now, this is just a quick example. So this is just a quick example of the output. So how it works is that it segments the call by intro, the framing, the discovery, the pitch, and obviously objection handling, okay? And then we score each section on a scale of 1 through 5 that we already defined, and I'll show you guys that in a bit. And it will also provide feedback for each section, okay? What I liked most about how I built this is that we're actually providing evaluation and feedback with these sales calls based off the context I have on how we like to run sales calls. Because just like you, me, and everyone else, every business owner, they prefer to run their sales calls different just because every single offer is so different. Every business owner is different. Everyone's preferences are different. And the way I sort this allows you to provide your own insight on how you like sales calls ran for each section. And we define that, and that way it'll provide feedback based off how you like sales calls. It'll be almost like if you were giving feedback based off these sales calls, right? So to do this, what we need is an actual CSV file. So I'm on Google Sheets. I just have a column for offer ID, offer type, qualification requirements. So like, what does the prospect have to satisfy in order to be a good fit for this program, for this offer, whatever it may be. A definition of your ideal intro, right? An example of an ideal intro, ideal framing, definition of an ideal framing, an example of that as well. Ideal discovery, another example of that. Same thing with pitch and objection handling. And the example I'm going to use in this video is Client Ascension. So if you guys don't know what Client Ascension is, it's just like a B2B consulting program helping like agency owners, let's say. So funny enough, I actually used to work for them as a sales rep, which works nice because that way I could throw in my old sales call recordings to test this shit out. Okay. So yeah, so for everything, so for Client Ascension, I find like the offer type, so B2B business coaching, the qualifications, and again, examples for each section. So ideal framing, ideal discovery, ideal pitch. Again, the importance of defining all these is because every person likes to say pitch a offer differently. And like same with framing a call, every offer owner likes to frame their shit differently. Some people like to do a more harder frame where they have to they force them to make a decision at the end of the call. I'm more laid back. But again, everyone has their different styles. And what I like about this method is that we're able to define the style that we like with examples to supplement it. And that decides the type of feedback our AI system will actually provide. So again, the first step in doing all this is actually building out this CSV file, defining the offer, the qualification requirements, ideal intro. And again, this applies to multiple offers. Like what you guys will see in a second is you can write multiple different ideal sales calls based on the ICP of the person that you're speaking to. Say with Client Ascension, right? There's different ICPs. Like let's say there's agency owners that are like around like 5 to 15K a month, just trying to get their first couple, just trying to really scale to 30K a month. A sales call is from that type of person is very different to someone that say like 100K a month, trying to hire out, trying to build out SOPs and systems within their businesses, and then further scale. Like the sales call flow is just so different. So there's no one universal sales script that fits all. That's why you have to have multiple to fit every different ICP. Nonetheless, this will all make more sense in a second as I explain the flow. So here's the flow of how this all works. We get the sales call recording, so the MP4 file. We just use OpenAI Whisper to transcribe it into actual text. What I like to do, because again, the whole point of this is just to track performance amongst your sales reps, is I like to track, is this prospect actually qualified? Okay. So that means that's taking the discovery section, defining our qualification requirements, like what does a business or what does a prospect need to be to actually be qualified for this offer, right? And based off the discovery section, you having the AI decide if this prospect's actually qualified. Just again, this is purely just for tracking reasons. From there on, we use an LM to actually segment the transcript into the intro, the framing, discovery, pitch, and objection handling. That way we can evaluate each section individually. Like, as these are the most important sections, maybe not intro, but like framing, discovery, pitch, objection handling, those are the 4 key sections of a sales call. So we want to evaluate these individually, because if you have an LM if you have an LM try to evaluate everything all at once, it's just there's just too much instructions for an LM to give. Like it's the actual output just won't be as good if you have to do it at an individual level. From there though, kind of what I was mentioning earlier, after we segment the transcript into these sections, we're going to identify the sales call type / persona. And what I mean by that, let's say it's a fitness coaching offer, right? So we're going to have the sales script, we're going to identify the sales call persona. And what I mean by that, like this prospect could be a back pain prospect. They want to lose weight, or they're skinny as fuck like me and want to gain some weight, right? These sales calls all end up differently. The scripts are going to be so different. The pitch will be different. Like there's so many different ways a sales call can go. We want to provide an actual script and actual context that closely aligns with the current sales call that we're evaluating. Okay. So that's why again, when I said like there's no one singular sales script that fits all, because again, there's so many, for a single offer, there can be so many different ICPs, right? Similar enough with say Client Ascension, right? There's There's one ICP where they want to get more clients through cold email. They want to get more time back from running their business to properly scale, so they're spending too much time on fulfillment. Or they run a lead gen agency and they want to get better at cold email, right? There's different personas within each offer. Just like with the fitness offer, there's different personas within this offer that's going to dictate how the sales call will actually go and the type of conversation that will occur in the sales call. Because again, how the prospect's going to answer your questions on why they're booking this call is going to be very different for each of these three, right? So in order for us to provide a good example sales script to the AI that's most closely aligned to the one that we're analyzing, right? We want to make sure the ICPs are actually aligned, okay? Once we do that, we retrieve the ideal template based on the offer type. So again, when I say template, that just means the ideal intro example, ideal framing with the examples, shit like that, okay? And yeah, we return the final evaluation. One thing I also want to mention is the scoring scales, because what I see people on Twitter all the time do, and this doesn't make any sense to me, and like this is not even on Twitter, this is like AI in general. They say like rate this on a scale of 1 through 10, but like what the fuck does a scale of 1 through 10, like what's a 10? What's a 1? What's a 7? Like you need to, when you guys write scales, you guys need to actually define what each of these mean, right? Because if it's arbitrary, your results are going to vary so hard because an LM doesn't know what a 6, 7, like what does that mean? And especially off numerous iterations of applying this API or of that prompt call multiple times, it probably won't be consistent unless you define it like. So yeah, we defined it like this. I honestly just wrote something up with GPT, just like critical failure is like completely missing the section and fails to address the core purpose, define an ideal description. 2, significant improvement with this definition. 3 is acceptable and like meets the basic requirements but still needs to improve. Proficient is well executed, and exemplary 5 is like flawless execution. But again, very important when you're doing scales with having an LM actually like rate something, like say 1 through 10, 1 through 5, 1 through 3, doesn't fucking matter, right? To actually provide real definitions of what they mean, because that's how you're gonna get consistent results. Because again, the whole point of the sales call analyzer is to track your reps' performances over time. If the scale that the LM is providing if the scores that LM is providing on your reps' calls aren't consistent, then there's no way that you can accurately track the actual results correctly, right? Or else everything's just going to be skewed and biased. Also with that, here's the prompt. So here's the prompt I wrote. I'll include this in the actual description as well, and I'm going to include the code too. So it's like, you're an expert sales coach. You're tasked to evaluate a section of a sales call transcript. Compare the actual transcript section provided by the user against the ideal description and the example. So based on this comparison, provide a score of 1 through 5 constructive feedback. When providing feedback, you must reference specific phrases or sentences. That way we actually like pull the actual text of what was said in the call, like why this was shit, like where you said it and why. And here we include the actual scoring scale here, right? And just the structure of it. And here's where we provide everything. So please evaluate the following section of a sales call, the section to evaluate. So this would be section. So let's just say it's like the pitch, let's say, right? The ideal description. So again, we take the ideal description of how we want the pitch to be, right? So we like to pitch this product via the 4 pillars approach. From there on, we include the ideal example. So that's going to be like the sales call script of the pitch alone. That's it. And the transcript of the actual call. Also with the pitch, I didn't include it in this write-up, but in the code, we do this. In the pitch, we also include the discovery section as well, like actual discovery transcript as well. Reason being is if you're in sales and you know how to make a good pitch, you know that your pitch has to actually be customizable to the prospect. And that's based off what you hear in the discovery section. Okay. So yeah, so that's why we include that obviously. And that's how you pretty much get this text file like this. And what you can then do is just push these scores into, say, a Google Sheet, Airtable, whatever the fuck you guys want. For each section, for each call, label it with the call ID, the rep, the scores, the feedback as well. And yeah, and maybe even include the average score across all of them, just to maybe like the overall score. I don't know. Things like you can play around with it. But yeah, it's from there on, once you get the actual like outputs, it's pretty easy just to send everything into like a Google Sheet, for example. But yeah, this is the final output. What we have is a section by section evaluation of each part of the call. If I were to do this again, I actually would include the intro just because like it's kind of pointless, right? But yeah, anyways, we can start framing, framing the call. I got a 3 out of 5. So yeah, the actual transcript meets the basic requirements of the ideal description, but lacks polish and strategic depth. Jesus Christ. However, the phrasing is somewhat informal and disorganized, as seen, and just give you a quick rundown of what we like to do on these calls. But if you guys want to read this, just pause this video and you can read this LLM, just bash how average I did on this call. And by the way, too, the reason why objection handling here has NA, no score, is because on this call, this person closed without any objections, because, you know, your boy, he's fucking like that. I'm just kidding. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much, and have a great day.